Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Bone Podcast, where we discuss all things crypto markets. That includes the majors like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, meme coins, and of course, NFTs. Today, we're going to discuss Monad going live, Coinbase sale completing, chain going live yesterday, some meme coin action going on over there. We're going to talk about Hype having some team unlocks and some poor price action over the weekend. And we're going to talk about crypto's overall weekend bounce. GM, thank you for joining us today. If you're listening on X on Twitter Spaces, give us a like, comment, bookmark, retweet, push us out there in the algorithm. If you're listening on YouTube, give us some comments. Let us know what you want us to talk about today. And if you're listening over on Zora, drop some comments. Tell us the alpha on Zora. Who are you trading on Zora? What are you trading? What should we be buying? Maybe we'll buy some tokens live today. I'm joined today by Signal and Easy. It's been a long couple of weeks since I've seen you last, Sig. Sig, how you been? How you feeling?
Yeah, feeling good, Ray. Feeling good. Yeah, it has been a couple of weeks. I've been away, had to go do some travels, but it's I think I have the opposite effect of Whale. When he goes away, the markets go up. When I go away, everything seems to go down. Luckily, I wasn't glued to my screen at that time because it definitely feels like everyone has taken a punch in the gut. And, you know, when you're happy that you're back up to 86K, it's sort of like, ooh. I wasn't really expecting this when I left, that we would pull back so much. But at the same time, I haven't been giving it too much thought, mainly because I had sold a lot of my positions before we had this pullback. So I've kind of like been selling off a little bit. So I've been okay, but it is what it is. It seems a bit like when I left 2 weeks ago, I remember the last thing that Easy had said is that maybe Bitcoin is ahead of everything else and we're going to see this pullback. And then we're going to go up earlier in Jan. And I feel like that's kind of what's happened in this last 2 weeks. But anyway, market's still good. We still got the Monad, still got MegaETH. People are still excited for it. So maybe the trenches aren't, singing with the sound of music. But I don't think that really matters because there's other more interesting stuff happening. What's been going on with you? What have I missed? I've been listening in, but I want to hear like the inside info.
A lot of talk about the markets, but I mean, basically, rolling with the punches, essentially. I've been changing my strategy on what I've been doing, less trading old stuff, more looking at new stuff. I'd love to hear what Easy's been up to. I'm glad to see him today. We lost Easy on Friday after a pretty interesting day on Thursday from him. You have a picture here if you're watching over on YouTube. Easy.
It's been a long farm life, my friend.
I've seen people saying, when Easy buys a farm, maybe that's the top signal you needed.
Yeah, a hawk took 2 of the chickens. So that happened. It's been fun. It's been fun. I don't know, man. I'm short Monad right now. Not by much, but I think it just stays under a 3 bill FTV in 24 hours. So I took that prediction market trade. Mostly just like trading this whole port I have here and just like working on that at the moment. Last week I hit 2 meme coin trades that I was happy about, made like $5,000. Like nothing crazy, but like with 5 SOL it turns very quickly into 45, almost 50, just off of 2 trades. So I'm just like trading really slow. Like really slow. My gut tells me that I don't want to be short here though. Like I feel like going short now is you're just late to the party. Like you're still at the party. That's the difference. It's like you can be late to the party, which would have been 2 weeks ago, and still make money, but you never want to be the last one at the party. Nothing good ever happens, And I think that's where we're at. Is like the lights are on, last call's already happened, and now you're bothering people to see if you can get a sip of their drink, and it's just weird, Like that's kind of where we're at. Like if you're still short right now, it's just weird. I'm like, what are you doing? Fear and Greed's 12. The S&P is still grinding up. Rate cuts flip back to most likely happening in December, but we just don't have a lot of the data. And the data that's going to come out is the week after rate cuts. So I think a lot of people are like, do they front run it and cut because they know the data is not going to be good and look good in the eyes of the economy? Or do they not cut, get called out for being too late and it looks bad? Like, yeah, look at this flip. Like last week was crazy volatile, where we basically saw no rate cut get priced in because data got pushed into a bunch of Fed advisors saying, nah, we still need to cut. So I look at that and I'm like, okay, maybe we don't get the Santa rally we wanted that puts us to 150K because everybody was calling for it and wanted to sell into it. And usually that's where it doesn't happen. But now everyone's calling for like 70K, 65K. And I'm like, yeah, that usually also doesn't happen. When the whole timeline's like, this is what's going to go down. This is what's about to happen. I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, we probably just like rally a little bit. It wouldn't surprise me. You just got an airdrop for a ton of people that's not insane with Monad, but like a nice quick little kickback, which feels good. So I don't know. I look at that stuff and I'm like, yeah, this to me feels like a decent opportunity to scalp some longs. I look at the S&P, which is going to slightly gap up, still holding an uptrend, which I'm a fan of. I look at the dollar, which is at a pivotal point at 100, which is usually an inflection point, major support resistance line. And all signs kind of point towards at least some level of relief bounce here on crypto and risk on assets, especially given the sell-off. There are coins I would not want to be long right now until we actually get some clear divergence. So like I look at Hyperliquid, don't want to be long hype right now just because of the unlocks. And it seemed like the unstake did happen from the team versus a restake, which is a concern. So that one I'm kind of shy on. I do still like the chart, but I lean slightly bearish on that. Sol actually doesn't look too bad in my opinion. I'm kind of interested in Solana here, which maybe it's crazy, but we're at a decent support line where I'm like, yeah, this feels all right. I still really like the Aster chart, which is still making higher lows and just made a higher high on the recent time frame. But yeah, I'm kind of just looking at a lot of things, but just not over trading. Like the farm's a blessing because it gives me a reason to be outside. I'm walking 22,000 steps a day and not having to sit at my desk and kind of like picking my spots way more convincingly. My favorite mention market of the year is tomorrow, which is the turkey pardon by the president. I'm wicked excited for it.
Wait, what the hell? What the hell happens at the turkey party?
Every year, the president pardons a turkey at the White House. So instead of killing it for Thanksgiving, they get pardoned. The turkey's two names are Gobble and Waddle. Great names. But luckily, we actually have the previous speech when Trump was in office in 2020. So we can see exactly what was said during that time. And you can kind of use historic data. So I'm like pulling the transcripts for 2016 to 2020, looking at those. And it's a short speech. It's 8 to 10 minutes. So I'm like, yeah, this is great. Like, it's a very short one. So I lean way heavier on the no. And I got some great fills across the board on it. Like, I'm on nuclear and B2 no, because like, why would he bring that up? I'm on no on the pardon 7+ times. Last time he only said it 4 times. I looked at Biden's speech last year. He only said it 6 times. Tariff, I'm on no. That one I'm a little worried about because he does usually acknowledge the economy. And if he says something about tariffs and how turkey prices are cheaper this year for some shit, I'm a little nervous about that. I'm interested in rock scissors at yes at 28 cents, which sounds crazy. But if they bring up Plymouth Rock, which he did in 2020, that's interesting to me. So like there's some value here that I think is kind of slipping under the radar. I'm currently on 4 no's. I was on thanks 20+ times for no, but I cut it this morning because my math was off. I looked up thanks and it was only 10 times. And then when I also looked for just thank, which includes Thanksgiving, the rules do say Thanksgiving counts towards it. It was 23 times. So I'm like, all right, that's a little too close. I don't want to trade that. So I cut that. But Nick called me 2 days ago and was like, yo, I just went through your Polymarket portfolio. He's like, the reason you're down is because your trade size is not consistent. And I was like, really? He's like, go through your trades. You're winning at like a 65, 67% clip, but your trade sizing isn't sustained like at all. So I was like,
the issue with that is like you're winning at that clip. Like you could be taking like things that are more slanted to the like the resolution side. Like you might be taking 75% chance stuff, you know?
But even then,
most people have a rate over 50%.
Yeah, but if my bet sizing was right, I would actually be up like 6 or 7 grand.
Right. And to do that, you have to bet to win the same amount every time.
Yeah. Your share count has to be the same.
Yeah. So you'd have extremely high like positions on like some of these like high conviction, like 78 cents. You would have to bet, 3x the amount on this as you would bet on the no to have the same sizing. So that's like
exactly.
too.
So like there is like sizing things, but after he kind of made that point to me, it became like very clear that I was like, yeah, no, you're actually right. Like I should be adjusting for this. And there's opportunity every day. Like the Monad pre-sale raise, I took the yes at 250 at 51 cents. It raised 269 mil. because a lot of people were pricing out. Usually the last 90 minutes, 2 hours, hour get the most volume. And we've seen that with like MetaDAO and some of these others. So for me, I was like, this feels like I should be taking this. And so I ended up taking it. Wow, it did 300 mil. That's surprising. I didn't think it did. But I thought it settled at 269.
Yeah, I thought it was 269 as well.
269. I don't know why I just did 300 with a green check. But 269 was the one. But if you look at this, look where it was that last hour, Ray. Scroll down. Look, you could have got this at 16 cents. So I bought it a little too early was my issue, but I still hit a 2x on it. So like my thesis was fine, and I just didn't look at it again because I was like, it's going to hit 250. Like that's a 2.5 bill FDV, you know? So I was like, yeah, this feels good.
So
I don't know. I completely filled on that.
I'm trading much slower instead of like spraying. Like before, my big issue was I felt like I always needed to be in a trade versus finding markets I really like and being comfortable allocating more capital to those for like bigger swings. Like the goal is $337 a day to get back by the end of the year. Yeah, so that for me is why I was like, okay, I'm chasing, but realistically, as the portfolio value grows, I can take bigger swings, and that 337 a day can be skewed. Like by the back half of it, I should have a few $1,000 days versus now where I'm just trying to get into like the 5K range.
Yeah, I think I agree with that idea. I think I've been doing kind of the same thing on the crypto side. Like I don't want to take all. I was taking too many trades as opposed to just doing less. And I think I can relate to what you're saying. Like, you're like, oh yeah, it's been great to be on the farm, etc. I've been at my desk a lot. So it's like taking patience to like not click the buttons and like finding other things to like distract while instead of clicking the buttons, which is tough sometimes for sure. But I think right now I'm spamming buttons. I think it's a time to be like taking measured plays. And I think it's to be looking at like emerging plays, like new stuff coming out. Like Monad today is a perfect example.
You know, Ray, I was going to add to that. I think using Easy's analogy, there's kind of like two. I've been speaking to a lot of investors over the past 2 weeks, and it definitely feels like things can go two ways. So if you were to use the bar analogy that Easy was saying, where the lights are on and you don't really know, there's that last guy who wants to sip your drink. I would say from my perspective, there's that guy who's just trying to look for the last kill. Like, can I get the last kill? Do you want to go home with me? We've all seen that guy, you know, trying to make the last kill at the party. Either that's happening and you're just like running out of the club being like, where are my girlfriends? I want to get out. Or there's an after party and it's a big one. And it's one of those ones where you're only invited if you know the cool kids. And from speaking to investors, Europe and Asia feel extremely defensive. They, like a lot of investors at the moment, don't really want to be risk on. But when speaking to the US investors, they're mega bullish. And even when you look at the banks, what their views are we going into a bearish environment? Are we going into a bullish environment? You're seeing two completely different views from the tier one banks, which a lot like most of the time they align. But from what I'm seeing on the research, it seems to be showing the opposite. So at this moment, it just feels a little bit of no one really knows what's going to happen. And even going into like this monad opportunity, it's interesting, Easy, because you're saying like in the next 24 hours, you're going to short. Was that right? You said you're going to short in the next 24 hours.
But at the same, I just took that it'll be under 3 bill FDV in 24 hours, which I'm up on right now. Like I'm already up about 20% on it. So it's just stuff like that where the math, like I'm looking, it's like inherently sell pressure from an airdrop is going to exist. It was already trading under 3 bill before the airdrop. Airdrops just hit wallet 21 minutes ago, and it's now at 2.5 bill. So basically, like your thought has to be, will more sellers exist than buyers over the next 24 hours? And I'm like, that feels very possible, especially because it's a coin flip. Like the price action was at 50 cents. So I'm like, this feels at least good to go up to like 75, 80 cents. Which will give me a 50 to 60% return. I'm not looking like I can exit this position early, which is probably what I'm going to do, just to net a gain. Like I don't care if it settles. It's just instead of shorting it on chain, I can take a position on a prediction market for this where there's no liquidation price and I can find an exit.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So essentially, you kind of taking the money and running, which kind of feels like what everyone's doing at the moment. And just being, because I remember, like, for example, Arthur Hayes, he sold out of his hype position, what feels like 6 weeks ago, I want to say. And everyone was giving him FUD for that on the timeline. And then it turns out actually that was probably a very good trade considering hype is now down at $30. And so we're kind of looking around being like, do you really want to pick this stuff up so you're ready for what could potentially be the next leg up? I don't know. It's an interesting time right now. I think it's an opportunity to load up on assets that you're bullish on. But I also think you don't need to take too much risk at this moment, because we always look back kind of like, I want to say 6 to 8 weeks from now. And then we always say that was a time when we should have loaded up. That was a time when we should have bought XYZ asset. And I feel like if you have conviction in something that you like, this is the time to do it, because Wall Street doesn't really seem to know exactly what is the exact reason why we are so down right now. Yes, you can point to NVIDIA. Yes, you can point, like, there's lots of theories on Twitter, but if you actually talk to the real investors out there and the people who actually have the capital and place in the capital, even they are slightly perplexed as to what exactly is going on. And if you look at the implied volatility in the markets going out to like January time, I'm not saying this is true. This is, not financial advice by any means, but you are seeing volume at, I don't know, 90 on the VIX, which is pretty damn high, very high, Armageddon high. And then you're kind of thinking to yourself, well, is there something potentially that perhaps they might know that other institutions, the smaller players don't know? You don't know. At the end of the day, you're just seeing one single data point. So you cannot really, you can't tell what that person is trying to do, what that institution is trying to do. But at the same time, you kind of feel like, well, do they know something that I don't? Anyway, it just points to the fact that there is a lot of conflicting data about where we're going right now in the next, I would say 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, I basically said the same thing, like overall, Sig. Like, I have no idea, like, heads or tails on which direction the market's moving, and that's why I can't trade. Like, I don't want to trade existing tokens, because I literally can't make a decision if we're going up or down. And if I can't have conviction on that, I can't make smart trades that I'm not going to waver on, because I need to have conviction one way or the other. I mean, I can look at the charts, I can try to guess which way we're moving, but we're really going to be dictated by the macro at this point. So head down, I'm in the trenches. I'm looking for new early plays, and that's kind of like the playbook I'm running right now. We've been talking for a while, though, Sig. Why don't we do a little weather report, and then we'll kind of get into it a little bit more.
Yeah, let's get into it. On today, Monday, 24th November, looking at that crypto roundup, the majors have bounced on the weekend. Bitcoin is at 86,000, Ethereum at 2,809, and Solana at $129. Over the past 24 hours, Monad's Mon token is now live on Coinbase as the pre-sale finished 1.4x oversubscribed. Monad's mainnet is currently live with some meme coin tokens seeing activity. Mon is currently trading at 2.5 pre-sale FDV on Hyperliquid. Hype has fallen almost 30% over the last week as over 300 million worth of team Hype tokens get set to unlock today. This is the first major team unlock and represents over 3% of the supply. And then finally, crypto exchange products saw a massive 2 billion worth of net outflows during last week's crypto crash. On the bright side of things, though, Grayscale's Doge ETF gets set to launch today and will be the first meme coin ETF to begin trading. That is all for the weather report. It is back to you folks in the studio.
Excellent weather report as always, Sig. A lot to unpack there. The Hyperliquid news is kind of interesting. Looking over at the unlock, 9.9 million tokens worth $318 million. I didn't dig too deep into this. I know, like, I saw it on the timeline, and Easy mentioned it. Like, the team was actually unstaking the hype as opposed to relocking it, right? And that's kind of where this, like, bearish like sentiment is coming from. Yeah. Yeah, so the hype is actually unlocked, and we've seen this basically drop 30% over the last week, which is pretty nuts. I do have kind of a line in the sand here at like $28 on hype. Right around where this previous wick happened back in May. So I think I'll end up adding hype there. I basically just been sitting on hype. Easy, are you shorting hype here, or are you just not trading it?
I'm just not trading it right now.
Sig, are you still holding hype? Do you have any worries here with this unlock?
So when when he put out his article, I sold some then, and then I've held some as well. So I'm still sitting on a bag of hype. If it gets to an interesting price, I will add more, but this would be one of my tokens, which will be on my like watch list for potentially could look very good in the next 2 to 3 months. So I still like hype at the right price.
Yeah, I think I agree. I do hold a very large bag of hype, and I'm definitely considering adding on. Like I think a dip to 28 here. The big news though is Monad's live. So it completed its sale on Coinbase. We talked about that 1.4x oversubscribed. Pre-launch though, not looking so good. Below price right now on Hyperliquid, also below sale price on Coinbase. So if you got into the sale, you are now underwater. I don't know how long this is going to sit under that pre-sale price. I think that there's probably room to long on something like this. I think I agree with Easy though that like there's going to be a lot of potential sell pressure anywhere over 3 billion at FTV, because that's a 20% gain on basically unlimited size if you were a Coinbase depositor. Like I think you could get upwards of $500,000 into the Monad sale on Coinbase at 2.5 bill. So I think there is like significant sell pressure coming from that side if we could get back up to 3. And then right now, I think what we're seeing is the airdrop sell pressure. My airdrop, I just checked my wallet. My airdrop hit. Easy. Are you flooring and getting out? Or are you playing around on Monad at all?
I'm just gonna hold it for now. Like I think we get a scam pump at some point. Like huge investors, Coinbase first launch. Like I would rather look at that and just wait for the scam pump.
Yeah, I kind of like that thought. I bridged over last night to Monad to check out some of the meme coins and see.
You paid the $2 a coin price ahead?
So I didn't. There's a faucet that you could get like a small amount of Mon token from, but it's basically only enough to make one trade. So I made like one trade last night on like a random meme coin, and then couldn't sell it. So I'm just like sitting here playing around. Taking a look over at the volume on meme coins and what's actually been moving, really like everything that had any kind of movement yesterday is now like 0. So not seeing any like meme coin movers. There's been $43 million worth of volume on Gmonad, but this is sitting at a 250K FDV. So like this is very small. I guess there's some sort of shoot. Let me get out of here real quick. There's like a scam wick on this that screwed up the chart. Yeah, but this thing traded maybe above 1 mil very briefly, and then it's back down 300K right now. This has been the one that's getting the most action. If this is only at 300K, it kind of tells you what's going on the Monad meme coin side of things. But it's one I'm actively looking for potential runners on. I think there's a couple NFT mints today I'm going to be watching out for. I'll be in the Bodoggos Discord, kind of like giving play-by-play on what I see. So I think new chains, there is opportunity early. Get on, familiarize yourself with like the decks, make sure you understand how to trade, because if there is an opportunity, you can get in pretty early. SP Energy says, how do we buy coins on Monad? So the biggest hurdle is getting gas token. So I think you can withdraw from Coinbase. Actually, it doesn't look like
you can move it to a non-custodial wallet and it won't count as selling.
A non-custodial wallet, you're saying?
From Coinbase, yeah. They said today that you can move it if you bought it on Coinbase to a wallet that you control, and they won't count it as like dumping, basically.
Oh, interesting.
So if you did the Coinbase raise, you can get your tokens. The Monad airdrop, if you had any allocation, got sent out. Yeah,
I think
you're good.
There are bridges, but I don't think liquidity is there yet. So if you got Monad airdrop tokens, they should be in your wallet. Like you don't even need a claim. They should just be in your wallet. If you need a bridge from another chain, you can use Portal Bridge. You can check out my X page. I have a post that essentially has all the links, the RPC. There was a false. I think this isn't working anymore. The Portal Bridge, some token lists, and then the DEX right now. DYOR swap.finance is the DEX I've been using. It has been pretty crazy, like seeing the rate of USDC to Monad was like $2 per token last night because people were like anxious to get in and start trading early. But I haven't seen what that's stabilized yet at today. I need to open it up when I do get a chance. But that's essentially how you get on chain on Monad. You can probably use the Portal Bridge later today to go from any chain to get actual Mon tokens. The rate was bad previously, so it was like easiest to go like USDC over. But keep an eye on that and make sure you're checking double and triple checking rates when you are doing the bridge, so you don't get slipped out on low liquidity. But we'll continue to cover this throughout the week. And like I said, in the Bodoggos Discord, we'll be chatting about it as well. I know some people were trading the meme coins last night. Moving on. Let's see what we got here. Easy. Do you think the bottom is in on Bitcoin? We've called for 83K as kind of being a key level a number of times. It kind of seemed like we bounced off that. We went a little bit below, closing the CME gap. Like, I would love to hear like your thoughts on Bitcoin in general and like where you think we are this cycle.
It's tough to say. Like I do think the bottom's in. I think too many people are calling for lower. So like I look at it and I'm like, this feels like a good place to bid if you've been waiting, at least for a short-term relief rally. Like you have December rate cuts looking more and more likely. You have a market that appears like we could see some level of a relief bounce, which I'm like, yeah, this feels good. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, I feel like you gotta bid this level just because it was previous breakout level, previous all-time high, I believe was 72K. So for me, I would rather continue to see like selling cool right now. People saying that it's still 10-10 contagion from like a market maker that blew up. We haven't actually seen who, what, when, where, or why that was. But when I look at it, I'm like, this feels like a decent spot. I feel like right now is not a bad time to bid.
I think I agree with you. If I was looking at DCA into Bitcoin, I consider it here. Looking at this MACD on the weekly, when we switched it from these kind of like peaked out last May on the MACD and we switched into these light red boxes, we began to see like significant run up to all-time highs. It was a similar action. I'll probably be watching Bitcoin for a similar shift here. We've had a ton of red candles, dating all the way back to late August on the MACD. So if we shift back into this light red and we start to like curl back, I think that rally is closer than further away. So I'm going to keep an eye on that on the weekly. It may be after Thanksgiving that we start seeing like a bit of confirmation that could be the bottom. So like that's when I'm going to start like really looking at maybe taking some of these other trades again. But until then, it's like strictly for me just new plays, new stuff. Say, what are your thoughts on cycle here and Bitcoin? Do you have any? Are you still DCAing right now? Or are you holding tight? Like what's your strategy right now?
I'm still DCAing, but I DCA like regularly, regardless of really what the price is. I think just having like a little bit of perspective, like over summer, we were like almost at 120. And I remember buying Bitcoin up at near 120. And I'm like, this feels horrible. I don't want to press this button. I did not want to be buying near all time highs, but it's a promise that I made to myself. I will regularly do it regardless what the price is. And I did not think that we would see 83, 81 this time of year. I honestly thought we were going to hold above 100 just for the rest of the year and then sort of like go up more towards 120, 130 next year. So I think this is a great buying opportunity. I think if you wanted to load up on more Bitcoin, this is the time to be doing it. It just feels horrible because as price goes down, you should be feeling better that it's cheaper, but somehow you kind of feel like the greater fool when you're buying down here. Overall, I would say, I mean, it depends what your strategy is because some people just like to trade it. They just want to be in and out. I think there's enough overall positive sentiment that people think this should go back up to 100. Who are the buyers right now? I think right now it's the institutions that are buying and are still positioning themselves for their retail clients. I don't think it's retail buying right now. I think people still feel a negative wealth effect. The fact that they are still finding it difficult to be able to get onto the property ladder, or if you are on the property ladder, to be able to want to buy at today's rates. People's wages are still not going up high enough. Things still feel expensive. So I don't feel like there's enough buy pressure coming from retail, but I do think institutional will step back in. And because it's institutional, it's going to be more volatile. I think we're going to see these big flows, inflows and outflows like what we saw last week. You just got 900 million just sucked out, or almost what felt like instantaneously. But that money instantaneously can also come back in. It was not even, I want to say my timelines are all screwed up, but I want to say like 5 weeks ago, we were seeing like 1.2 billion just flow into Ethereum. And everyone's just like, yay, Ethereum, always knew it could go to 10K. I'm holding Ethereum to 10K. And now, Ethereum's at like 2.3 or whatever it is. And everyone's like, yay, I told you Ethereum is dead. So it's just like, take a goddamn position and have a view. Like for me, Bitcoin, I just think at 80, 83, 81 looks glorious, beautiful, buy it up. And then after that is anything else. Do you want to buy it? Do you want to hold it? Do you want to sell it? The risky stuff you kind of want to be out of. But I also think there's smaller teams out there that you can also be accumulating their tokens on if you think long-term it could be interesting. So I just feel right now is a buying opportunity for long-term. Short-term, I don't want to trade stuff around here. That's not my edge. That's not my forte. I'd rather do mention markets than try and figure out whether, Mega is going to come out at the level and do what everyone thinks the consensus move is, or whether it's going to do something totally different. It's just like, so flip a coin, you're right or you're wrong. I don't really like those odds against me.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. One thing that's been nice is I signed up for my Gemini card, like right here, back in early November. So I've been spending on that card, getting like the 1% back. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is like really like 2 or 3% back if it's only one. If I'm DCAing into Bitcoin here. So
that's actually a really smart idea. That's actually a really smart idea, right? Another good way of accumulating Bitcoin. You just keep spending on your every day. I mean, but that's what people do, right? At least that's the culture in Europe. Like with your Amex card, you just spend, so you can like stay at your airline level. Slight tangent. I have people who come and take flights to come and visit me, and I'm like, hey, this is an odd time of year to come visit me, and they're like, yeah, I had to spend just so I can get the points to stay at my airline level.
If I spend 10K in December to break to the final tier.
Exactly.
I'm like, I've been platinum for so long, and I'm like 10K short of diamond. And once you get it, it carries for the next year. So I'm like, fuck, do I just do it? Because diamond's like guaranteed upgrades. It's like lounge access without a card, all the bullshit. And I'm like, oh man, but that's like, dude, do I want to either fly somewhere do I want to go fly to fucking Singapore, or do I book?
Or you just buy the points.
Europe?
Well, yeah, or you can just buy the points. But you know what, Easy? Always think about that moment when you haven't done it and you turn up to the airport and you're with just like everyone you don't want to be with. And you're like, I should have just paid more. I should have just paid for those 10K points.
I know. I'm
slight tangent. But Ray, yeah, keep spending. I actually think that's a really smart way of being able to accumulate on the cashback as well.
Keep spending. Yeah, I have my Black Friday's plans. We're buying some stuff for the house too. So I'm going to continue to DCA into Bitcoin by spending. I just don't want to tell my wife the strategy, because then I think we're going to spend a little bit too much. She's like, we're buying more crypto.
Oh, well, honey, you get a 30th of a Bitcoin if we buy this $3,000 couch. And you're like, well, fair.
All right, yes, that's talking about DCA. There's something else. Oh, Easy. I got some alpha for you and for anybody else who bought the TokenWorks NFT. we're allow listed for a monad mint. Friends first come.
Interesting.
Friends first come, first serve. This is Scrumpies. Apparently, these guys are pretty big in testnet. So we get two.
What
of
time
these
is that?
2 hours, 17 minutes.
Okay.
I sent the link in the private chat. I think they're just Scrumpies on Twitter. This is one of the holders of the TokenWorks allow listing, all the TokenWorks holders as well. So if you got involved with that, you're listening to the show. I know a number of us did. You'll have allow list to one of these monad mints. I haven't done a ton of research into which communities are big, but I've heard good things about this one, and I'm going to be minting it in my early access window here. So that's one of the opportunities I wanted to highlight, that I'm going to be taking all this new stuff is basically the goal on these new chains for me. So just wanted to highlight that. Outside of that, good news here. Did you see Michael Burry is back with a Substack, paid Substack, $380 a year. He's off of his investment firm. He closed his firm, and now he's writing for $380 a year. Would you sign up for Michael Burry's Substack?
Sorry, what? He's charging $380 a year for a newsletter.
Yep. Makes me think we should increase the price of ours from free to something.
Dude hits a goddamn short on the housing market and charges like $300 a year.
I don't understand. This guy must have made more money than God during the 2008 crisis. Why is he charging $380 for a newsletter? The man should be giving it out for free. He literally made money from people losing their homes. The least you can do as good karma is make your writing be free. Okay, call me a socialist. Sorry. I'm probably too much of a socialist. Okay, fine, forget it. I'm easy smiling right now. Okay, fine, he can charge. I just think $380 is a lot of money for a newsletter. I haven't read it. I don't know. Maybe he's got really good tips in there. There are people who charge a lot more money for a newsletter and, make lots of money off it. But I just feel like at some point in your career, when you've been really successful and you're probably coming towards the end of it, you can kind of give back in a way. And that's kind of like how you share your knowledge, kind of like what Ray Dalio does. I mean, that guy's on my LinkedIn page all the time with his 7 steps and his, he has a lot of information, but people go to him as a source of trust. Whether you like his work or you don't, you can read it and have an opinion because it's not gatekept against a $380 newsletter, right?
Yeah, he has some stubs here that are available to read for free, and then you have to pay for the rest. Basically talking about what causes a bubble, part 1. So I think he's been very short on the market for a while now. Close up is fun because he said he doesn't understand it anymore. So doesn't understand the market and then releases a $380 a year newsletter. It's just a kind of funny thing for me that I saw. Another interesting one from today. We saw maybe a little bit of crime in the DAT space. We had a NASDAQ listed company planning a $212 million fundraise for a RAIN treasury. And what is RAIN, may you ask? That was a $500 million market cap prediction market token on Arbitrum that since this announcement has ran over $1 billion, which is pretty wild. I think it's almost ran to, it ran to 1.2 billion market cap, 8 billion circulating on this news, all the way from right around 500 million. So pretty crazy news on the side of it just being a huge price move, but also interesting to see people are looking at some of these prediction market plays, and you're seeing investment come into them from Wall Street. Kix has been pretty early on the prediction market token meta in terms of ancillary tokens outside of the big airdrops people are farming, like the Polymarket, the Myriad, etc. I don't know if this one was listed. I know there's a different RAIN token that he had listed. So when I saw that news, I was like, oh man, is it the one we're holding? I was like, no, of course it isn't. But we are seeing some more investment in these, and we're seeing some more attention. So I'm definitely interested in this as well, in kind of my my theory of like new stuff. So I want to be looking for new prediction market platforms and bots and trading tools that potentially have tokens that I can speculate on. So that's just another area I've been looking at. Easy. Is there anything you've been seeing in the prediction market, like tooling side? And you've been working with Bullpen. Like, what does your flow look like right now in the prediction markets in terms of like
Mostly just use Bullpen for like analysis stuff. I like what Kix did with Predict Shark too, from the analytics standpoint. He's got like all the charting on it. Bullpen stuff though, I talked to the team pretty heavily. They have a few different products coming out that I think are going to be really good. Similar to something like Tremor.sh and stuff like that, where it's news aggregation. But my big thing was always the filtering. Like, just give me an edge to be able to see what whales are buying and have better filtering. And they've built all of that. So I've just mostly been using this to see real-time flow of like where are whales buying into stuff. Can I catch upside moves? I don't do most of the sports stuff just because that, like, if I was going to predict on sports, I would just go gamble. Like, but for me, I would rather take positions on like we said, this, I've actually sized up this Monad under $3 billion trade personally. I'm up to 1,000 shares because the more I look at it, the more I'm like, it's going to have to pump 25% in a single day. And I'm like, that feels pretty outlandish for the first day. So I don't know. There's certain things where like I look at it and
when did it launch?
What did you say? 9 a.m.
Huh?
9 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah. 9 a.m. EST. So we'll see. I like the fact that like when I go through and look at who's on the no for holders for over $3 billion, it's like some pretty good traders that are like the top 3 no's.
Booberden.
Like that's always a good sign. And then go look at the yes. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, some bad traders.
I'm like, okay, I think I'm on the right side of this.
That is fun.
Easy. Do you look at this as like a canary in the coal mine for what will happen with Mega as well?
No, because Mega's way more community side of it. There was a lot more VCs on Monad, and it was a much longer time coming. So I don't think that you have to compare the two. I think they can be different, you know? And I think that that's the thing that a lot of people need to look at. Yeah, that's kind of where my head goes, is like, why would I want to speculate on that versus wait to see what actually happens? And like where they launched the FTV, we knew this had to basically come out at a 2.5 bill FTV. So for me, it was like, we knew where it's going to be. Do we think it pumps over that and rewards these people? Maybe not. Like if it gets down to 2, I'll probably even sell the position. If it gets like 2.2, then my share should be up to like 85 cents, which I'm like, okay, great. Like that's a nice trade. Hit the daily goal. And now I can just wait for this mentioned market tomorrow. It's more just like, I don't hate the hedge knowing the airdrop was pretty large. And the thing with Mega is the US investors have a 1-year lockup. With the Coinbase one, it was instant unlock. So I'm like, it's a different style for it, where a lot of the US traders are going to have to hedge through third-party systems.
I'm curious.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, no, because I'm curious because I it's also just like the overall sentiment of the market at the moment seems to be that it's just kind of get your cash and run, especially this week. Different podcasts, you know, different hosts. Some are bearish, some are bullish, but it just seems obviously we're going to get that downward selling pressure like you're talking about in the first 24 hours. But whether it can recoup and not have buyers stepping in after that, I think this will be an airdrop to watch over the next 72 hours. I just don't think it's over. I don't think this bottoms out at like 2.2. I do think we see, as you're saying, the scam pump, but it comes later. Maybe after 36 hours or so.
Yeah, I think it holds like 2.5 bill. I don't think it drops too much below that. I don't think it looks good for Coinbase to have a big token sale, number one on their platform, where everyone's immediately underwater. But I don't know if it does pump over 3 within 24 hours.
But the Coinbase is only 7% of the supply. So like even then, it's like they could be underwater. And their way of like stopping that is like, even if this one's bad and people sell and are underwater, if you don't sell, you're going to have priority access to the next one, which could be significantly better. So like a lot of the people are playing the game of like, this is the first. They probably weigh it way heavier moving forward. So I should probably just hold it.
That's exactly what I'm doing. But I'm saying like, it doesn't look good for Coinbase to have like this big token sale and for the price of
maybe.
below?
I don't think it matters. Truthfully, I really don't think it matters. Like, it's Coinbase at the end of the day.
I mean, if they're trying to do, I mean, I guess like there really is no shortage of like people who want to jump on and do token sales on Coinbase. So yeah, I don't think they have to like sell their product necessarily. Whereas someone's gonna be like, oh, well, that Mon token pre-sale was underwater. Why would I launch on Coinbase? Like that was my like thought process, like BD and incoming flow from future sales. But like as you are Coinbase, maybe you don't have that problem.
Yeah.
But I think it just, I do think they keep it above pre-sale price for this like initial phase. And I think at some point the pre-sale or like the airdrop people are gonna stop selling. I think a lot of this is just like airdrop sales too, because I think a lot of people got like decent chunks. Like, I got $1,000 at the current price. We mentioned MegaETH. I do want to talk about that. A couple things coming up with MegaETH. There's the USDM deposit bridge starting tomorrow. $250 million cap, first come, first serve, as much as you want to put down. So there could be a bit of a race to get into this, as this is going to have like incentive rewards for their upcoming airdrops. They said deposits here are going to provide consideration for airdrop. So USDM is the stable coin that MegaETH has been working on with Athena. It's going to be the default stable coin on their chain. How they earn some extra revenue, etc. They take some of that stablecoin pie, and that's going to be part of what generates revenue from them amongst a couple other things. And then also they have Frontier coming up. I'm not as plugged in with this, Sig. I don't know if you are, but they have their Frontier, which is basically like beta mainnet launching. Do you know if the public sale tokens are coming during that period? That Frontier period in early December, because the chain's technically live. Are they going to be like unlocking the the global tokens, not the US tokens? They're locked up for a year, but the other people, I wonder if they're going to be unlocked for this mainnet beta. I haven't been listening really closely to Bread lately, so I'm not sure what the case is there.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the case there. Today he spoke about the deposit for tomorrow. Is that right? Yeah, for tomorrow. So that's all I know. I'm not sure. Yeah, to answer your question, I'm not sure on that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on that. Maybe I'll dive a bit deeper to see what's happening there, because if tokens go out for Mega, for those early investors in just a week or two, that makes me think that there could be some sell pressure on this chart, because they sold, if you remember, at a 1 bill FDV, and this is at a 3.4 bill FDV right now. So this is a much bigger gap than the Coinbase versus like the Coinbase Mon sale versus this one. So one to pay attention to for sure. Like Easy said before, US has a 1 year lockup, and people who opted into the 1 year lockup, like anybody in that tranche of investors, they receive the highest allocation. So like the largest single bag allocations are locked up. So there's like a lot of small bag allocations. So it'll be interesting to see like how that affects price when everyone gets their tokens, because it's not going to be big whales. It'll be a lot more distributed coming into launch. But wanted to talk those couple points about Mega. USDM tomorrow, Frontier coming up in a few weeks in December, and then need to research / monitor seeing where that Mega token gets released. Is it in January, or is it with Frontier?
It's interesting as well, because I always find like the beginning part of the attraction of capital and the marketing. Like I think Monad did a really good job on marketing with the cards for who they consider to be contributors to the crypto community. And then MegaETH have just done an incredible job overall. And I always think like almost like the dating part is the most interesting, where a lot of teams seem to get it right. But like the marriage, where you're like, right, I'm now going to spend most of my time on this new network. This is where the real work is, because I think there's so many shiny new objects. A lot of new platforms struggle to actually retain the intention. I think if you look at Plasma, you know, straight out the gate, everyone's really hot, everyone's really excited. And then like the narrative of that just sort of has gone silent and no one's really talking about it. So I think for me, the most interesting will be like, well, like after the rewards and the incentives, like what is bringing people there? Is it just to farm? Is it to use new games, new tokens, new platforms? Like that's the bit I'm actually excited about, and gives me the reason to be somewhere. Because sometimes I look back on like why did Blast fail in a way? Because they actually had some interesting games and interesting decks, and there was lots of reasons to be inside that network. But at the same time, the team got it wrong, and then everybody, left after they got their tokens. So I just hope that a lot of these teams have taken their lessons from that and have actually got decent games, just decent apps to use on there that isn't just like farming dexes for longing and shorting.
Yeah, I think there are a few things that I've had my eye on for MegaETH. We have Euphoria, which is the tap to trade app, which looks kind of interesting, addicting. I don't know how much product market fit they're going to have with that, like out of the gates. Are they going to be able to tap outside of crypto? Are crypto people going to use it? I mean, it looks really cool. It's something that's novel. We also have Hello Trade, which was announced last week. This is essentially the people who built the BlackRock IBIT ETF are working on MegaETH to basically build global equities trading. So essentially tokenized equities on MegaETH. I think they're going to be doing a lot of like the equities and TradFi rails type stuff because they're optimizing for speed and providing the speed needed for like a lot of these high throughput traders to like conduct business. And they're having incentives to like, they basically allow you to like bribe them via like MegaETH tokens to like have better execution or like faster execution on their validators. So I think you're going to see a lot of like finance rails being built and a lot of finance apps. So like it's going to be interesting to see how much volume these get from Web3, how much volume they get from TradFi. Can they get the liquidity needed to kind of jumpstart and like solve like the cold start problem for some of these? But this is a strong team building a platform, which I think is basically built for MegaETH, that MegaETH is going to do a good job of showcasing. So that's one I have my eye on for MegaETH specifically is Hello Trade, and I'll be seeing how they develop over time. Yeah, but I'm bullish for that. I can't wait for Frontier. See what they have coming out. See what the chain is like. Like I said, always a fan of going into new chains. I think there's outsized opportunity. Obviously outsized risk as well, but I think the risk return for someone like me who can stay plugged in and find new narratives is just kind of worth it in that scenario.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that Hello Trade actually looks really interesting. If you've got former BlackRock employees deciding to put their money and their time there, it means that there's something there, right? That was the whole point of MegaETH. So I will look into it, Ray. You've put another good one on our radar.
Yep. And that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all for listening. It's been a wonderful Monday after a weekend off. You can catch this podcast Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. You can watch us over on YouTube. Watch us on Zora